probably one of the oldest conflicts in Africa. Two ethnic groups pitted against each other by colonialists. Women are sexually tortured and killed, children are recruited as soldiers or beheaded, and men are being butchered. I'm talking about the Ituri region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC. In the latest bout of violence, which began last year, over 100,000 people were displaced. That's because of fighting between the Hema and Lendu ethnic groups, and many are fleeing to neighboring countries. But it hasn't always been like this. In order to better understand it, one needs to go back to this guy, King Leopold of Belgium. He began his reign of terror in Central Africa during the 1800s, leaving behind a trail of bodies. His rule in the Congo is described by historians as Africa's Holocaust, because he killed and tortured more people than Adolf Hitler did in Europe. After years of pillaging the land and killing animals for their ivory and skins, Leopold moved further into Central Africa, an area we know today as the Ituri region in northeastern DRC. His main aim, to procure ivory and to extend his authority from the northeastern DRC to the White Nile River, which he planned to use to take all the riches out of the region. But then he came across the Hema and Lendu. The Belgians learned that these two had lived peacefully for years with no issues. So they did what most colonizers do: divide and conquer. They split the region into different administrative zones, families were separated, and a no-mixing policy was enforced. The Hema were favored by the colonists with better jobs and were also given land. The Lendu, who were resilient people, were used as slave laborers and put to work in the newly discovered gold mines. To keep the two groups at odds, the Belgians did something really creative. They went to the Hema with a made-up story that the Lendu were lazy and wanted land and resources for free. Then they went to the Lendu and convinced them the Hema were greedy for land and did anything to get it. And this is how the 118-year-old rift between the Hema and Lendu began. The seed of animosity was planted. After the end of the colonial era, the Lendu began a violent land grab from the Hema, and the Hema fought back. Over the years, there have been sporadic bouts of violence between the two groups, the worst being between 1999 and the early 2000s, where 4.5 million people were displaced and thousands killed. Since the end of colonialism, the country has gained independence, lost it to a dictator who named the country Zaire, fought in a deadly war, got another dictator who renamed the country the DRC, fought the deadliest war since World War II, and got a dictator's son as a new leader with dictatorial traits, who's been in power ever since. Despite drastic changes to the DRC, the Hema and Lendu continue fighting. Today, Congolese rebels are backing the Lendu and Ugandan army factions are backing the Hema. Will more ethnic blood be spilled, or can the Hema and Lendu go back to living peacefully?